at the development of the artificial stream monitoring system for evaluation of fish moving patterns.
So the objective of this project basically was to create a habitable environment which would mimic the conditions present within a stream during the winter season. And using that stream, we would like to observe and monitor behaviors of fish during the wintering period. We'd like to observe the establishment of the dominance hierarchy, as well as habitat use by different size class fish, as well as analyzing the movements of these fish within that stream during the winter period.
So we have an artificial stream set up in our aquatics lab in West Science. It's approximately 18 feet long and 3 feet wide. Within it we have 6 shallow pools set up with 1 deep pool in the center, and along one of the sides we have one run. As you can see, there's a tarp over it, which is to block out the light in the remaining portion of the aquatics lab. That way we can adjust the photo period during this time to mimic winter conditions. So we have a 8-hour light period, dark, or 16-hour dark. Within the stream, we stocked it with 30 brook trout, which we weighed, measured, and photographed, and then implanted with individual specific RFID tags. And then we allowed them to acclimate for approximately a month before we started collecting data. And as of right now, we have the stream set at approximately 8 degrees Celsius.
Okay, so to monitor the fish within these streams, we chose to use GoPro Hero 3 White Edition cameras. These cameras are capable of recording HD video at 5 megapixels. They have a built-in Wi-Fi capability, which unfortunately we were not able to use because of the NMU computers. They're housed in waterproof casings, so just in case they fall, be no worries there. They are GoPro's latest model camera, and compared to their predecessors, they have an expanded view with less distortion towards the edges of the frame. They also have an extended battery life in comparison to those older cameras. So to mount these cameras above the stream and collect the data, we constructed these mounts made out of PVC and high pressure PVC with Schedule 80 fittings. The cameras basically just snap in on top of that cross beam right there on the T-joint. And then we clamp these mounts to the side of the stream. We are able to adjust the height of the camera off the stream to kind of focus that viewpoint to include more or less of the stream. They are 3 feet tall. Right now the cameras are set about a foot off the stream. So the data collection with the GoPro cameras, basically they record for a period of 3 hours before they run out of battery. And right here that is a video that we should be able to get to play. But if you focus on that right-hand corner, every so often you'll see the fish moving in and out. In the beginning, there's one swimming kind of around the pool as he takes off downstream. And we are trying to observe the behavior, the habitat use of these fish, the size class of these fish. We have large and small fish within the stream. And then we are recording the time and length of the habitat which they occupied during the video. And then this is just an example of a table. This is from that first clip. It shows the timestamp at which the fish was brought into view of the camera, the habitat they occupied, the interpretation of the activity they were doing, so whether they were guarding a food source, displaying their dominance over smaller fish, so be it.
The other portion of data we're collecting was the RFID data, so radio frequency identification. We used Oregon RFID equipment, 23 millimeter passive integrated transponder pit tags, which you can see a picture of right there, is what we implanted the fish with. Within the stream we had 8 antennas hooked up with 2 readers, so 4 antennas hooked up per reader, and then divided the stream into basically a upper portion and lower portion. They were running at half duplex, so the readers were reading or sending out a signal half the time and then receiving the signal the other half of the time. And then here's a small clip of the data collected. It's actually the same time as the video recording. So this is actually 6 in the morning, so 6:08 in the morning to 6:38 in the morning. And then it has the tag ID are the individual fishes. So tag ID 20 is a specific fish, then 34, and then 02 is and then we have antennas 1 through 4. So what's highlighted in red is actually fish number 20, on which antennas he hit. So he started off hitting antenna 2, and then hit antenna 1, which antenna 1 was the entrance to the deep pool, and then he came back into the run and went all the way upstream to antenna 4. This is actually fish number 20, is one of the pictures of him. And here's a diagram of our stream, and I'm just showing you a visual representation of his movement. So there he hits antenna 2 for the first time, then he hits it again a couple minutes later, and then he hits antenna 1 at approximately, I think it was 15 minutes later, and then he is staying around antenna 1 for a few times, and then he moves up to antenna 4, which he stays there for a little bit, and then comes back to antenna 1.
Then further research using the stream. Immediately we plan on installing new lighting or changing the lighting so we eliminate some of that shadow that you saw in the recording. We also plan on removing and shuffling the fish within the stream in hopes of observing, the reestablishment of the dominance hierarchy within that stream. Another helpful thing might be dispersing the feeders, kind of to feed different fish. As of right now, we believe that the larger fish are kind of monopolizing the food source, and the smaller fish are not feeding at all. And that would also play an effect. We could observe the differing habitat use based on the dispersal of those feeders. And then more interesting things we could do with the stream is we could alternate the seasons, see how that affects our movements and behaviors, and also create a more natural habitat, such as the placement of substrate or structure within the stream.
Any questions?
As of right now, how much hours of footage do I have?
Yeah.
I've only recorded a few times, but I mean, I probably got over 12 hours of footage.
You say hit the antenna, how close do they come to in order for the antenna to pick them up?
The antenna read, they read, I want to say, about 1.5 inches on either side of the antenna, so yeah, probably about a 3-inch span.
Oh.
And then they read the whole depth of the string, of the run, so, which is
The
probably,
depth?
what's that?
The antenna can pick them up at any depth, you said?
Yeah, where the antennas are, they're in the shallow area. They're not. It's the entrance to the pool, so it's the antenna actually makes up the whole depth of the stream. Which you can, I can
Oh, okay.
go back, take the slide real quick. Nope, I guess we don't have the picture. You see the white boxes right here? That's where the antennas are hooked up. There's actually an antenna right there, which the fish will swim right through, and then it picks up the tag, like it reads.
And then I have a second question, if you don't mind, I think very fast. How deep were the shallow and deep pools?
I want to say they're approximately, I think it was 6 inches deep, roughly. I don't have the exact measurement, but I want to say.
Shallow pool?
Yeah, the whole, besides for the deep pool, the whole stream is about 6 inches deep.
Oh, okay. And the deep pool then was?
Approximately, I want to say 2 feet, 2.5 feet.
Okay. That's close enough. Beautiful, thanks.
Is the water flowing or is it?
Yes, it's flowing.
Okay.
We have, well, actually right there, this is the deep pool, and we actually have a strong pump going right there, so it's actually pretty fast flowing right there. And then we have another big pump at the back, and then 2 small pumps in the middle of the stream, in the middle of each run. So yeah, it's constantly flowing. Besides, for the pools are pretty still, but yeah, the runs are pretty good.
Yeah, we have time.
Okay, I'm just curious about the basic premise here. So this is a brand new setup this semester, this year?
We're setting it up. We're basically working on getting it set up last semester, and then we got it up and flowing this semester. We stocked it at the end of last semester with the fish, allowed them to acclimatize, and then we basically wired all the antennas up, and then he got his cameras set up throughout this semester, and then we started recording probably about a month ago.
So how is it working out? Do you really have the capability now for looking at the video footage? You can identify which fish that is from
I can't identify as to the individual fish, but I can identify between the 2 size classes. There is a big difference between the larger fish and the smaller fish, and if if you scroll over to that video, there's a ruler basically in that pool, right there, and I mean, using that, you can scale over and you can tell the size class of the fish.
Looking at his timestamps though, of which fish passes by, I can link it to my data, and basically I can probably pinpoint which fish it is. There's kind of a discrepancy though, because there's a couple fish there at a time, so I mean, there's the 4 antennas, because right here we have that's antenna 3 where it's at right now, and right by is antenna 4. So
That's what I was curious about, if you had a capability, because that sounds really neat to me, if if it's synchronized and the time's accurate enough, if you can say, okay, that fish that we're looking at, that must be number whatever.
Right.
That's the idea.
And I mean, as of right now, I can tell from my video, if it'll play right now, there is this larger fish hanging out right there, who is basically dominating the feeder. If you see that green corner right there, the camera's basically sitting on top of the feeder, and the fish swimming around. He's one of the larger fish in the stream, and he's dominating that food source and keeping away the smaller fish.
You talk about introducing new fish. Do you have to get them from the same area so they don't become dominant, or they don't become, you must say dominant, or different, need a different source of food?
As far as introducing the fish to the stream,
Yeah.
you mean like where we got them?
Yeah.
We actually got them from the state hatchery
Okay.
over on Cherry Creek Road.
Okay. Cool.
Salmon will always set up a dominance hierarchy, so the plan would be to reshuffle individuals and let them interact with a different group, and then they'll still set up a dominance hierarchy and take them out and do it again. So, that's what they're doing.
Well, let's thank our speakers. We have about a minute or two before the next talk.